Today we're going to talk about a couple of cargo bike styles. In front of me here is a Yuba Fast Track. So this would be a full-size cargo bike, also known as a long tail. And what that is referring to is the length of the wheelbase. So long tail cargo bikes typically have more load capacity. You can haul more stuff on them. Having that longer wheelbase affects how the bike handles somewhat. So you'll be able to ride straight with a heavy load more predictably on a long tail than a short tail cargo bike, which we'll talk about in a second. This one is a mid-drive. So the motor is here in between the cranks. Mid-drives do tend to have a little higher of a bottom bracket, so it needs a little more clearance. Means you might have to move your seat up a little higher than you normally do. But instant delivery of power, very natural pedal feel to them. It's almost like you're riding a normal bike with super legs. This one has a rear rack that you can get seat attachments, haul a couple kids on. There's also a cargo rack that you can fold up and down. It doubles as a footrest for your child passengers in the back, or it can be a parcel shelf if you have a large box that you're putting on it, and you can strap down loads to it, as well as the front rack, which is very handy to put lighter amounts in it. I think it's about a 30 to 40 pound weight limit on the front rack. Total payload capacity for this bike is around 500 pounds. That's you, your cargo, any other people riding on it, and the weight of the bike combined. It's important to be aware of the load capacity for any racks that you have. Usually there's a limit for the rear rack, the front rack, and then an overall capacity. And you don't want to exceed the rack limits, and you don't want to exceed the overall capacity. This is an REI Generation 1.2 short-tailed cargo bike. This model is actually no longer in production, but there are a number of other styles in this kind of format that are a great city bike, great kind of practical cargo bike. Overall capacity is going to be less than if you're looking at a long tail like the Yuba Fast Track, but much more nimble. So that shorter wheelbase makes it easier to take corners, turn around in a smaller space. Storage capacity, you don't need as much space in your living room, garage, closet, bike room, wherever you're going to be able to store it. Weight capacity on this is about 30 or 40 pounds on the front rack. 22 pounds on the front rack. But can still haul a great variety of stuff. Does not have as heavy duty of a rear rack as the Yuba Fast Track does, but with a couple pannier bags on it, you can easily get a large grocery haul. And then for zipping around on the grid here in Sacramento, this is one of the first bikes that gets pulled out of our office. It's just easy to maneuver around doorways and get out of the office, and then it's a lot of fun on the grid. This has a rear hub motor, so it feels kind of like you have a strong backwind at your back. You really feel it kick in, and you get up to about 20 miles an hour in about half a block here on the grid. So even with a 350 watt rear hub motor, it still feels really powerful. This bike has a cadence sensor, so the computer is taking the calculation of how fast you're turning the cranks and applying pedal assist based on that, and it has 5 levels of speed assist. Yuba Fast Track has a torque sensor. Torque sensors gauge how much power you're putting through the drivetrain and deliver power assist, how much the motor is going to work based on that input. So the harder you try to pedal, the more it's going to assist you. It helps give a more natural pedaling feel to bikes equipped with torque sensors. Now, torque sensors are most commonly found in mid-drive bikes, but there are hub motors that have torque sensors as well. They tend to be a little higher end offerings. Entry-level bikes will typically have just cadence sensors, and you're starting to see bikes these days that use both sensors to get the best of both worlds and deliver a more predictable ride feel. E-cargo bikes often have smaller wheel sizes. So notice both of these bikes have 20-inch wheels on them with big, chunky tires. So those chunky tires help absorb impact, but that 20-inch wheel size keeps your weight lower to the ground and lowers your center of gravity. So makes the bike less likely to tip over, and is a better way to distribute large loads across the platform or the frame.
So as Rob mentioned, we got 2 different styles and kind of a more compact cargo bike and a little more extended cargo bike. Most cargo bikes are going to have this front rack that is attached to the head tube or the frame. So you can see here, it's not moving with the tire moving, so that load is going to stay nice and balanced. Some cargo bikes have some fun little accessories. One's called the deflopilator. That would actually basically a spring that attaches in here that keeps your front tire kind of centered. And it can just help with that, if you're loading a bike. A lot of these features are not only helpful for carrying stuff, but they're also helpful for when the bike is stationary, when you're either loading passengers on it, when you're trying to load it up with groceries. Having this platform that's kind of stable in sort of the same orientation you're going to be riding is really helpful. Then you can just get it loaded up, jump on, and just start boogieing home. One thing to know about cargo bikes and smaller tires, it will kind of affect the way the bike rides. Because a bigger tire will, it can run over different road imperfections differently, but also it has a different feel and your gearing is affected by smaller diameter tires. So the best thing with any of these bikes, cargo bikes, non-cargo bikes, is to go ride some. See how it feels for you, see how the sensors feel, how the balance of the bike feels. If you know you're going to be using it for cargo applications, bring some cargo stuff with you to ride. If you know you're going to have a passenger, take one of those passengers with you. Just really trying to really make sure that this is the solution you want for hopefully replacing a vehicle. Now, we don't have a Bakfiets style cargo bike to show you in our SABA fleet. A Bakfiets means box bike. They are very popular in Denmark. So popular, in fact, that we're going to have a video in our playlist following this that talks a bit more about the idea behind a Bakfiets and how that is really a fantastic car replacement, especially if you live in a city that has very good biking infrastructure.
Made possible by a grant from SACOG, the Sacramento Area Council of Governments.